For the fact that in a relationship, a parent should be recognized, there should be space for both couples to understand and also to know themselves more better. Hello everyone, welcome back to another segment. In today's episode, let's dive into an African lady who got married to China's husband based in China. The beauty of love and also the beauty of relationship comes when both couples are stay together and also understand and love each other warmly. But you can see here in our African lady in today's package, we have African lady haven't been married, to a Chinese husband. There's been a controversy, and guess what? What this time around, you can find out that the Chinese husband is actually not in love. Should I say yes, in court, in love with our African lady, and the both of them are actually not married, not moving hand in hand, as in as the way relationship supposed to be. We talk about relationship and we talk about marriage, we go in deep to understand the fact that certain characteristics needs to be displayed between both couples. But the relationship between her and her husband, yes, her husband mother is flowing so much well. You can see that her Chinese grandmama is so free, she's simple, and she's in deep in love with the African lady. But that is not the case in today's package. You note that her Chinese husband is not actually flowing, and the usually case that usually occurred, you find out that when both couples do not mesh together, when both couples do not do things together, when both couples are not together, there will be no room for pregnancy to occur, or there will be no room for should I say input of should I say the outcome, the seed of the relationship, the outcome of the relationship. Every relationship brings out or born something in you. It could be child, it could be children, or it could be something. But when both couples are not working together, there is no room for development, there's no room for expansion, and there's no room for should I say establishments, which the case might be like for her to get pregnant, for her to be pregnant, and for her to bear them a child. Well, our relationship with our Chinese grandmama is actually so much kind of intact, but the relationship between the both couples in quotes is actually lapsing. Why do I say it's lapsing? Because you hardly see a Chinese husband with a African lady. Most times you often see a Chinese grandmama and an African lady together. Them being together is not a bad thing, but we actually want her Chinese husband to sit up and also to take his wife on hand and also interact fervently with her. For recently, we are Chinese insist that they go to the hospital to check their fertility, should I say their fertility stage, to know if they both have some problem for it to be solved. Most times we ignore the visit to hospital, and we have forgotten that it's very good as human to once in a while check in the hospital for any problem for it to be corrected. It's not when the case becomes so serious, or when the case becomes so enlarged, that we have to take a visit to hospital. Once in a while, even when you're healthy, you have to dash in to make some rigorous tests to see your well-being. And we so much thanks our Chinese uncle for taking that step and on noticing that there is actually a problem which needs to be solved. And I believe the both couples will work hand in hand to make things, go well with them. Well, someone says, how would they be here? How would they produce baby when they both are not together? They are not igniting together. They are not being, intense together. Well, how will you know? Well, that is by the way, I think since the relationship is built on a solid ground, I think the both couples are actually together. But the fact that Chinese grandmama is always with her, and the both of them are always together, I think it's time for her to step back, and but not in hungriness or not in hunger, but to allow our Chinese husband to take the lead, and also to be with her, often, and the both of them will have to know their weakness and also to solve that which are necessary for them to sprang forth as a couple. this where it comes when we talk about, being couples, some newly wedded couples being together without the interference of both parents or relations or even uncles interfering in the relationship. This is why we call for, both couples to be together, to understand themselves, to, in that process of learning, in that process of relationship, in that process of them being together, they have to know and, correct those things which are actually hidden. Because as us now, if the uncles or the aunties are interfering or even a Chinese grandmama often, be with them, they'll come to a time where those things which they're supposed to, sprang forth will be hidden and will be hiding itself. And she, being cautious, I don't want to hurt him, and him, I don't want to hurt him, I don't want to hurt her. There are some certain things which the both couples will be, preventing for themselves, and that will not, up in the relationship. But when the both, should I say, Chinese grandmama, step back, and her Chinese uncle also step back and allow the both couples, to live together, to understand themselves, and also to solve their problem, I think they've arrived. But if they keep on interfering, I think they are causing or creating more emotional damages to both of them. And not only that, and there'll be also be delay in the reproductive stem, because they have to be together, just as some are saying, they have to be together for them to be able to give us a child or children, as the case may be. There is deeper secrets about marriage, and in our subsequent edition, I think we'll be bringing to your understanding that which you not know about marriage. Some persons just think marriage is just something you just go in and then come out. It's just something you go in and start playing with the other party emotion, and not knowing that it's actually deep, and it calls for both couples to enjoy themselves and not to endure themselves. All right, that's just I'll be wrapping up today's episode. I hope you're enlightened to this package. Please do stay tuned and stay blessed. And always remember, lovelies, stay good for now. Bye for now.